Alright, men. Where do you want to start?
Arriving in Shallian.
The entire Shallian section, I think, was really good. I think it did drag on a little bit long towards the end of it. Where we were kind of wandering around aimlessly a bit and blah blah blah. We just kind of... Like, I know there's a lot of setup that had to happen, obviously.
Yeah.
With being the last expansion, I suppose they really wanted to take the time. I think the really cool parts were... temporarily, like, stepping into that, like, university life, you know?
Yeah.
That was like really fucking cool. Like like going into the school and seeing like Alfie and Alice, you know.
Yeah.
Mostly Alfie, you know, like the crowd around him and
like
stuff.
He had like admirers. Yep. Yeah. Everybody loved him.
He was like the ultimate.
That was.
Yeah, he was like the ultimate prefect, you know. It was like that kind of vibe, you know.
Exactly.
So that was fucking awesome. I think that montage was also awesome. Because it's like we actually got to have like a lesson, like the goddamn students who attend Shallian and stuff, you know, and attend like the university or whatever. We got to experience it too.
It brought out some stuff that we never really knew as well. Like we obviously knew that the twins were from, call it a highborn family, you know, like a well-known family. Yeah. And we finally got to see that. Like the mother is awesome. The dad turned out to be awesome. I mean, to be honest, with how it was going with Fortuno, the more and more he sounded like an asshole, the more and more I believe that there was something bigger behind why he was being an asshole.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Actually, let's get to Fortuno a little bit later in the Shallian section. Because I've got some criticisms, man. As much as I really fucking liked his character, like, and his development was so goddamn good and so satisfying, you know? Like, oh my god, man. But I think that Mama Levieux was fucking amazing as well.
Mama Levieux, Emilians, she was excellent. I loved that. I loved, like, the little bonding session with the kids. Giving them clothes, you know, it was. I
love how she was secretly a benefactor to the Scions, you know.
And finding out she was the benefactor. Yeah.
She's like secretly been looking after them all this time.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah.
Oh,
but
man.
Even still,
big mother vibes this expansion.
Yeah,
like big mother themes,
definitely.
You know?
Even seeing Kryle or Krilly, step in, like it kind of. I mean. With the whole students of Baldessian hearing a little bit about her grandfather. Yeah,
it was good to see Krilly get more of the spotlight as well, just overall.
Yeah.
Throughout the entire expansion. It's like, man, how overdue was it? Because I really thought that Stormblood was going to be Krilly's big, like, take the front seat expansion, you know? And, like, she had some, like, good moments in it and stuff. And, like, which,
I was going to say, do you really think Krilly had much to do this expansion? She did, but it was yet again behind closed doors.
Right, yeah. Maybe that's just the kind of character that she is, though, you know?
Yeah, because it kept on playing on the fact, like, Krilly kept on stepping back from these things, thinking that she's not strong enough, which is why the next part of this expansion, I think, like, from what we know, it's probably going to be surrounded around the students of Baldessian, so she's going to have to step into her own now, you know?
Yeah. But I mean, she's always been that kind of character, you know? And I remember people reading comments and stuff, like talking about Krilly, saying that, oh man, I hope that Krilly doesn't have a big part to play in Endwalker. God, I wouldn't even, like, if she died, I wouldn't even care. And blah,
she's
blah,
an
blah.
excellent character.
Yeah, people saying that they wouldn't care if she died and stuff. I was just like, man, are you fucking serious?
Oh, I'd
like,
be distraught.
Are you actually serious? Like, she's the fucking scion that gets no praise sang about them, you know? The minstrels aren't playing any ballads about Krilly, student of Baldessian, you know what I mean? But at the same time, she's fucking doing all the goddamn heavy lifting, all the hard work behind the scenes, you know?
Exactly.
That actually made the Scions tick and got us through, like, all of Shadowbringers. Like, are you kidding me, man?
Yep.
Like, obviously, a lot of people had a part to play, but Krilly damn near died, man, depleting her fucking ether to keep everyone alive, you know? Like, man.
Exactly.
I think she's a fucking badass, dude.
Yeah.
I do wish she had more, like, character growth this expansion. I will say that, I guess.
Well, it's still, this expansion is still not over, really, is it? Like, we've still got everything to go. Her and Raha as well. We've loved Krilly from the start when we saw her in a little cat outfit, but like not beret, but embarrassing Alfie, you know, outside Idleshire.
It's freaking amazing, man.
Really solid character, and I like the attachment that she had this expansion. She was like our doorway to speaking to Hydaelyn as well. Yeah. You know.
Yeah, that was a funky little plot device, man. I like that. Is there anything more about the twins that you want to say? I will say actually about the twins, because like, I mean, I guess we're just going through characters now, you know?
Yeah.
The twins we already mentioned, like, what they got up to in Charlian and stuff, and that was all very cute. It was all very cute. I'm not sure if I wanted more from...
The twins had a massive expansion.
Oh,
they really did.
They did. Like, I'm not saying all that, but I feel like the twins' story peaked this expansion in Garlemald, you know? Like when we went to Garlamald, and it was quite early on, really, in the expansion.
Yeah, they were like, destroyed in Garlemald 1, actually.
Yeah, man. Oh my god. And I've got to say as well, like the fucking writing in that zone.
Oh, in Garlemald alone.
Minus Quintus. Like, fuck Quintus, man. I still don't, like, everyone was like, oh man, Quintus, man, Quintus, he's so deep, isn't it?
No, I understood. I understood him and things, but I just thought it was, I don't know.
Okay, we'll get to Quintus in a sec, but I want to talk more about like the twins in the Garlemald section, you know? I think that their portrayal of what an actual, like, a defeated province, and like a province that's at war and a province that's basically on its last legs was so fucking perfect. And bless the poor little twins, man.
I know.
Like they thought they were gonna roll
everything.
in, and they thought they could just roll in and okay, let's beat up the goddamn monsters and the mutants and whatever, all the crazies, and we're gonna save the civilians. We're gonna bring in the refugees. We're gonna give them soup, and it's all gonna be good, you know. Blah, blah, blah. And it's like no, it doesn't go down like that, man. It doesn't go down. Like, even in like real world war, you know, it felt very meta true. Yep. Like you got to put yourself in the shoes of those poor fucking civilians, man, and.
But that's the thing.
Way they went
even
out, you know.
Still, when we come into contact with Quintus and Ulysses, and they go as basically like diplomatic hostages, you know, that's basically what they are. And then they're still upbeat, even when they get their collars, and it must be terrifying. They're still upbeat and they're still trying to speak to Ulysses, and they help with ceruleum and everything.
He's clearly trying to see sense because he's a bit younger. He's a bit less set in his ways, you know. Ulysses, I really liked Ulysses' character, man.
Ulysses was really good.
Ulysses was really good. Like probably the best side character for me of the expansion, man. Ulysses.
Oh, we'll talk about that later. But no, like that's what I'm saying. Like the twins, even they kind of underestimated the whole, not like the battle stance and things. They knew that what they were getting in for there, but the whole effect it would have on them mentally.
Yeah.
And even still in that hostage situation, I mean, they put themselves up for it. They literally put themselves up for it, and they went
like willingly, and
and then they had that little scene in the cold
when they're all cold and shit.
It's so adorable. Man. But then the thing that I think destroyed them and hit them the most was when we lost those two
girls
that just didn't trust us whatsoever. Yeah,
it was like the lady and her little sister, wasn't it? And all I remember from that entire sequence is just us going back to Lucia, I think it was, and the twins just
the twins heads down.
Twins all sad, and it's like, oh man, it's like this real growing up moment for them, you know, like you can't just roll in and be heroes, you know.
Didn't I? That screenshot, the Team Alfie and Team Alice.
And it's like, I love how just nothing was said.
Nothing.
But it was just like, okay, we have to give the battle report. And it was just very much implied that the twins just can't talk right now, you know?
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even have to say it, man. Like, oh god.
But I still think people forget as well that they are teenagers. They're not only just teenagers who were trying to, we didn't know, like, trying to save the world at this point, or the universe at this point, but we're just trying to help others while being disowned by their family.
Yeah, man.
You know?
Yep.
For a teenager.
And that's a big trope in fiction in general, man. Like the loss of parents at an early age, or like being born an orphan or whatever, because it forces main characters to grow up and go on like a coming of age journey really quickly. And there's always like a lot of pain involved and stuff, and it kind of happens symbolically in this one, you know, with Fortune Dishonored.
Yeah,
so it's like,
exactly.
Man. And that's why, I know this is like totally unrelated to Endwalker, but that's why the Dulia Chai farewell to Alfie is still like probably one of my favourite cutscenes ever, man. I don't care what anybody says. Everyone's going to be like, oh no, what about this? What about Heidelin? What about this? I don't give a shit, man. Dulia Chai saying farewell to Alfie, you know, and being like his surrogate mum while he's in the first. It was like, yes, man.
Like for as much as the twins had their arc, like they went in kind of in over their heads a little bit, And then we see Alice sticking it to Zenos. And actually making Zenos think for the first time in his life.
Yeah.
You know?
I forgot about that cutscene, yeah.
She literally made him actually stop and think, which is more than anybody has ever done.
What makes you think that anyone's gonna fucking entertain your whims and wishes if you're the least empathetic, most sociopathic, non-cooperative creature in existence, like, how about that, And,
exactly.
oh my god, man, did that actually come through in a big way by the end? But
yeah, exactly.
But what's really cool about that is that the Alice of, like, Shadowbringers, the impulsive, I can kind of punch my way out of any situation if I just get angry enough and hit hard enough, I can fix anything. Like that, like, how much did that growth show in this expansion, man? Because she really wasn't that person anymore, So it's like, man, I just feel like all the growth from Shadowbringers really carried over.
Yeah, it did. It
really
actually
cool,
did. It reflected on the experiences that she'd previously had.
Yep. Really good continuity and just consistency, man.
And then on the other hand, with Alfie, showing his the benefit of his political, like, being good politically. It managed to, boost the Ragnarok in the end, and he was actually starting to become his father. Like, Fortuno could see him in Alfie.
Yep. Big vibes of that, man.
Yeah.
Or maybe even Fortuno seeing his father, like Alfie's grandfather in Alfie.
Seeing,
Yeah, man.
Maybe. And then obviously one of their biggest moments was finally
right at the end.
Getting to Meteon. Finally getting to Meteon. Enough to open the final way for us.
Right.
Both of them together. I still love that though. Like, even in that serious moment where Alfie's coming up with the plan and this is what we're going to do, and then they're arguing between them. They're both, like, she's saying, how can you leave him like this, or her like this, it's not
them
fair,
alone.
blah blah blah.
The worry of, like,
and then what Alfie says makes sense, and Alice is like, she drags him away. It's like, right, if this is what we're doing, let's go. It's pointless talking about it. Let's just go.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And
like, her character's grown.
Then Alfie just looks at her from behind and just gives her a little smile, and it's so adorable.
Yeah. Well, it's one of those things where, like, again, I just want to... While her character has grown, she's still the same old Alice, Like,
yes,
she's
course,
that, like, didn't change as their core characters, like, because that's something that happens, like, often in badly done TV dramas, I think, and TV series, where a character goes through some kind of arc. Pretty sure it happened to a few Walking Dead characters. And if anybody watched the old school TV show Heroes, it happened all the fucking time in there. Like, someone would be evil as hell, and then they'd undergo a change throughout one season and they'd become, like, a good guy. And it was like, everything that made them the character they were in the previous season is just gone. It's like they're a completely different character. And it's like, dude, what the fuck, man? You can't tell me that this person wouldn't be traumatized and blah, 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 from like things they've done and seen. Like,
that's true.
Whereas we didn't get any of that, man. With the twins in a good way, But to finish up the goddamn Garlean zone, because we should touch on Quintus and Julius now, man. The scene of poor Julius, man. In fact, it was really nice that we learned more about Julius and stuff in the side quests, you know, about his family and what happened to
I
them.
know exactly which scene you're talking about.
The soup.
It's when they come back with the soup or the drink, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he just breaks down.
Like the symbology and it's almost like you sense the relief in his character when he accepts that bowl of soup, because it's like it's finally letting go, of all of the fighting and the cold and the death and the war and the prejudices and all of that stuff, you can finally let it go, Whereas Quintus couldn't fucking let it go, man.
With none other than an Alamegan as well, by the way.
Yeah, that's a good point as well, man. Yeah. But I tell you what, man, I made some notes on Quintus, right? I'm just going to rattle them off and see what you think, right? Okay. I'm just going to read out my fucking notes as they are, so they're just being spam typed, but he was because we were talking about, why can't you just do what all the other nations on Eorzea have done and just come into the fold. We don't have to be at odds. We don't have to be in conflict. We have bigger fish to fry right now. What the fuck is going on, And it's Alice who's begging him to do this, if I remember right in the scene. And he starts arguing that we should have submitted to the unity of Garlamald and the unity that they wanted to impose, which was basically slavery and authoritarian rule, where like everyone was abused under them. It was like, so I was like, man, what the fuck is he talking about? Then he was willing to drag his surviving people, few as they were, through hell, lacking supplies, into an unwinnable fight just to keep his deluded fucking ideals alive, not seeming to realize that he was commanding like 20 dudes from a ruined old fucking train station. Like, it's over. Like, stop dragging these poor ass bastards through this shit. Like, it's done. Like, I get it, you're old, this has been your life, you know, these are the ideals that you hold and whatever, but it all worked out in the end, because at the end of the day he couldn't accept the change, which was impacting and made me regret ripping on him a little bit hard, because I was like, okay, like, wow, so he he was coming from a place of being genuine, like, for all of his faults,
some people,
you know?
just are stuck in their ways and can't, they feel like they cannot adapt.
I know, but I feel like when there's like fucking women and children and non-combatants that are under your watch and you're looking after them and you're running out of fuel and food and like people are suffering like crazy and they're gonna die, and it's up to you, like, either give up your pride and everyone gets out alive, you know? Well, I don't know, man. I didn't feel for his character, you know? I was like, dude, this guy's fucking broken.
There is actually a character who shows who's like the correct way to do it, even though they're stuck in their old ways. And we won't talk about this character yet. I'm just referencing. We'll talk about him later. Emmett. All right. Emmett was always stuck in his own ways, but yet when it came to everything, like Elpis being Etheris being destroyed, it was no longer his, it was our star. It became our star, protect our star. You know, things like that.
Well, that was also when he remembered who we were, because he's been to the live stream and back, you know.
But as well, when we pulled them from the live stream to help, they wanted to return, and Emmett specifically said, because this isn't a future I'm willing to accept it, but it's not my future anymore. It's not what I wanted, you know. It's a TLDR, Quintus. You have to have characters like him, because there are people like him stuck in their old ways, you know. And it is frustrating when you can't get through to them. But that was the whole idea of Garlemald. We didn't manage to save everybody, and it wasn't because we couldn't. It's because they wouldn't let us.
You know what I would have felt might have been a way bigger and more impactful way for Quintus to go out? I think that if he had agreed to let the civilians go back with us and give them all of their supplies, right? And then he'd led the last of his men, frightened as they are and stuff, you know, some of them really don't want to be there, some of them are really loyalists, so you've got like a big wide berth of opinions among his soldiers, and he led them on like a last Riders of Rohan charge against us. I was
just about to say, do you mean Riders of Rohan?
Right. Because then we'd be fighting him, and it's like Julius is in among the men, and we don't really want to kill them, but we have to, because like, they're just following orders, and it's like you get this like really horrific situation where it's like, oh my god. You know what I'm saying? I think that would have been like a really impactful way for him to go out, man. I mean, not that the way he went out wasn't impactful in the end. I just feel like I would have felt for him more, you know?
Yeah, the whole Garlemald, it was dark, it was deep, it was dark.
It was grim, man.
It was very, very well done, actually. Even the whole story as well, of uncovering that we need the warden scales, you know? Like, let's lead on now to Savnair and Radzatan and stuff.
Right.
So that's where we find the scales, isn't it?
Where the hell do we want to start with Radzatan, man?
Well, how did we actually... Oh, well, we got the teleportation sickness.
Well, yeah, we should start with this Dinian then, man. Well, to be honest,
that's what I'm saying. After the teleportation sickness, because he didn't take it. Oh, I'm getting fleeced. The first thing.
He was an incredible comic relief, which was... Like, normally that's like not even a good thing. Like, I hate it when a character's just like, oh, a character's just there for comic relief and blah blah blah, you know. Like, I fucking hate that shit. But when it's coming from like Estinian, like, I didn't expect that shit at all, man. Like, him totally freezing up at the counter when we were arriving in Charlian, and the little Lalafel's asking him his occupation, and he's like, he just completely fucking freezes and has to be rescued by Krilly because he just can't lie, you know?
Yeah.
It's like, man. And then, obviously the sickness.
Getting fleeced for a hair tie.
Fucking hair bubble for like 20,000 gil or some shit. It's the finest, most durable rope in the land, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Oh god, it's too. Oh god. And I mean, he had some really cool moments with Vitra as well.
Vitra, yeah, exactly.
I mean, I do feel like, again, he was much more of a side character, though. It's one of those silent hero types again, man, like, really, you know?
Yeah, I guess so. He did grow on me a little bit more this expansion, I think.
Yeah. Well, it's that, like, I think a lot of the times characters, not every character can go through, like, a crazy arc where they grow and change through an expansion, you know?
You can't have one every expansion.
Yeah.
There's certain expansions.
Expansions would last 5 times longer if that was going to happen, you know, which is not be possible.
Definitely.
So I think a similar thing happened with Thancred and Y'shtola, you know?
Yeah, that's
like, there's just not much to say about them. Like, they were just Thancred and Y'shtola, you know? Which is, like, it's not bad.
But they were awesome in some scenes, which you can get to later. Next would have been Vritra, because we were talking about the dragon scales. I thought Vritra was...
It's a cool character, but...
It was obviously a cool character, but a little wasted, maybe?
See, I've always felt like
the connection with Estinian and Vritra was cool, and it obviously is going to happen because of Estinian's connection to dragons. But the only really, like, impactful moment is when they saved Matsia and the baby.
Oh my god, man, Matsia and the baby, man.
Exactly, hence why I wanted to do Red Zatan and Thavnir.
Yeah, man, Vritra and the dragons and stuff, I kind of feel like the dragons are less characters and they more feel like forces of nature, you know? Elemental lords or something, you know? Maybe it's because they're so old and so wise that... I don't know, man. I don't know if that makes sense. They feel like living monuments, in a way. Like, I don't think they need to have, like, a characterization in the same way that we expect a Sile to.
That being said, though, with Vritra, I did like the whole Vritra and Vashan thing. I thought that was a really good idea. Yeah, Vritra was an okay character. It almost felt like he was there for Estinian, though. A little bit, maybe.
Oh, a bit plot devicey, you mean? Like.
Well, no, because he obviously the Warden scales. That's how he came in. Like, he was given the scales, you know. But it wasn't just his scales that could have. It was any dragon scales, as we figured out. But then, he was a good character, but nothing overly special.
I actually really liked. I forget to pronounce his name. It was like Ahayawan or something like that.
Oh,
the guy I mean?
The fake satrap.
Yeah, the fake satrap, man, the stand-in satrap, who's like, man, I feel like he sacrificed so much to be in service of Red Zatan, and he was never really a fighter or like a great leader or anything. He was like a willful puppet, which is really interesting, you know? It's like an interesting way to have a character. Because that's like a different kind of
dragon, actually, as well.
Well, it takes a different kind of strength, you know?
Yeah.
To be like, to every single day be lying. Every single day, you know? Like, that's a really interesting character. And the way he went, man, they did him wrong, man. I don't know what you say. I really wish he didn't go out like that.
Yeah.
Especially when it felt like our fucking character, our warrior, like, you know, we could have done something, man. We watched him die so slowly and get chomped up by that giant fucking demon, you know. It's like, man,
yeah, exactly.
I really felt for that guy, man, because in the end he even died for the cause, you know. So it's like they did fucking good with the side characters, man, because we met Nidhana as well and Matsuya.
Yeah.
In Red Zatan.
Nidhana. Oh my god. Well, yeah, so good, fucking Nidhana. She taught us about Akasha and Dynamis. Imagine if she hadn't have done that.
She knew everything, man. She knew everything. Well, that's another, man. Maybe we should get into this a little bit later too. But I feel like the way that they slowly introduced us to the idea of like Akasha and Dynamis was so good as well.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't too quick. It wasn't too slow. Right. Yeah, I agree.
Because, like, of course, you got to think to yourself, like, well, they start introducing, like, I mean, let's just go off on one, like, real quick about Action and Dynamis, because it really doesn't fit in anywhere else, I don't think, in a review like this, but they were talking about, Akasha, and it's like, it's almost like an emotion-based magic, and it lets you, like, very slightly manipulate reality if you feel something strongly enough, whether it's love or hate or fear or whatever. And so I remember after being introduced to that, we went back to Red Zatan after killing Zodiark, and then it was all hell was breaking loose, the final days and stuff, and we were in that dungeon where everything's going to hell, you know. and we come across 3 little elephant kids and their mum. And the mum is crying out of, oh, it's hopeless, you know? And then she changes into a demon. And then all the other kids around it, they all fucking freak out and they all turn demons as well. And like, I remember midway through that fight, I was like, hang on. There's something to this. Yeah, there's something to this, man. Like, she lost all hope, and they were very, like, they were subtle and on the nose about it at the same time. Yeah. I think because it was just a little text bubble, but I was like, man, there's something fucking to this, man. There's something to this. Like, the way that they feel about, like, if they get frightened enough or hopeless enough, it's something to do with Akasha, man. It's like, we knew very little about it, but it almost felt like we were organically
it felt like we were putting the pieces together rather than the game telling us.
Yeah. Like, we actually felt like an investigator as the player. Like, okay, I noticed that. We're going to remember that. Like, and watch out for any similar patterns, you know, as the game goes on.
Yeah. But even still, it didn't feel like it was forced on us, and it was going to play a bigger part, because it could have just been a link to the Elpis flower that we had.
Right.
And you know, obviously the bigger picture was that we needed Dynamis to defeat Meteion, but for all we knew, it was just what the Elpis flower was made of. You know?
Yeah, or something. Or something to do with that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wasn't
the Elpis flower was
to show, like, forced for the ending of the expansion. We just figured it out as we went.
But that's another thing as well. Like, it's one of those things where you don't want to. Okay, it's like 4 or 5 expansions into something. You know, you've played thousands of hours of a game, and now they're introducing this new thing, Akasha or Dynamis or whatever. Like, how has this not been discovered before, you know? And then you realise it's literally canonical now. I think it was in the Heidelin fight, maybe, or maybe it was the Meteion fight. That limit breaks.
And Singer.
Okay, it was the Meteion fight then,
yeah.
That limit breaks are a manifestation of Dynamis. It was like, so it was like, man, I love it when a mystery is hidden in plain sight. Yeah, exactly. Like, a mystery is hidden in plain sight like that. And you just hadn't put 2 and 2 together. Like, some people had already figured it out by that point, you know, thought, oh, wait a minute, what if LB's a blah, blah, blah. And it was a really cool theory. And then to have it basically confirmed in a trial, you know, that was just so fucking well done, man. And it's all because of Nidhana, dude. She was the first breadcrumb, man. She was the first breadcrumb.
Yeah, and then all of them making the warding scales.
Yeah.
Which worked for her, but she did get captured in that tower.
Yeah.
The first tower. What was the first tower called? Tower of Zot, was it? Yeah.
Zot, I think.
Tower of Zot. Yeah. I don't remember much of the actual dungeon, but obviously at the end, the traumatic experience of finding that it was a man's limb at the end, and it was one of Varus's limbs. You know, because everything was feeding off Varus, who was then basically anima, right?
Yeah. That was a strange way to do it, man. I thought they were going to explain that a little bit better. Like, I had to actually ask, and then someone before the theory in the comments, you know?
Yeah.
I was like, a limb, like, where did that go, you know? Oh, God.
When you get it.
That's another thing as well, man. Speaking of, like, the subtle things like that, and, like, the creepy things and the body horror, you know? There was another part as well where some villager in Radzatan comes running up. Oh, please help, you know? Blah, blah, blah. Like, my grandson just went to this village, and the final days have come there, and blah blah blah, you know. So we're like, oh fuck, we gotta go to this village and help them out. And when you're on your way there, one of the abominations attacks your ass, and it's like blah 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 blah. You fucking kill it, and then it's like dying voice line, and the little voice bubble comes up. It kind of chokes out grandma or something like that, you know. And it's so easy to miss because they'll put like they'll type it out really disjointedly, you know. Yep. And it's like, I remember catching that and just feeling sick, but you did, you know? It's just like, oh, I think we just killed that old lady's grandchild.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. Like, the little things like that is so good.
She was the one who started the chain reaction inside Radzatan, wasn't she?
Oh, yeah, was it? Yeah, when the one that killed Ahewan.
Yeah, exactly.
If I'm saying his name right.
That chain reaction.
Right.
Which might bring us on Raha's fucking best scenes.
Which might bring us on very conveniently to Raha, actually. Yeah, man. Yeah. Oh my god, man. First of all, before we get to that, the Berger scene.
Oh.
Like, I know we've already kind of touched on that scene a little bit, but fucking Raha's ginormous dinner plate Berger, man. Like,
oh my god, that was
so good.
one of the best scenes I've seen in a game.
Just when the door opens and they're all there with the little packets, just smiling, you know? Like, oh my god, man.
It was incredible, actually. That scene in, the scene at the end of Shadowbringers where we're all in Revenant's Toll.
Yeah, Shadowbringers, yeah.
That's the end of Shadowbringers. Yeah. That is one of my favourite scenes as well.
Yeah, man, just the casual scions, you know?
Yeah. I love the scenes with the scions. I think it's so great.
It's amazing, man. I'm so sad we actually lost the file to the scene before we go to Ultima Thule. And Urianger and Y'shtola and Thancred are over there, like in the same cafeteria, you know, in the far corner, and they're all eating. And we joined them. We actually lost that file, man.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Yeah.
Because we had like a week break, and it just got lost in the void, you know? Like, I don't even know what the fuck happened to it, but...
Yeah, that was an
so
awesome scene, that. Yeah, I do remember.
But they were really cool.
But yeah, the one back in like our room in the inn.
Yeah. In our dome.
It was adorable, absolutely adorable.
Yeah, man.
Like, see that
Alfie impersonating Justinian.
That slowed the pace down of the expansion, but we weren't looking for trolleys. You know, that is the biggest difference in slowing the game down.
Well, it's not just that, man. It's scenes like that honestly made me so terrified for the rest of the expansion, because I was like, man, I fucking love these characters like they're goddamn real life friends at this point. Yep. And if one of these if Raha, Alfie or Alice goes this expansion, oh my god, man, like I'm gonna be disheveled. I'm gonna be distraught, man, you know? So,
I will say though, I never once expected any of them to die.
Yeah, I don't think there was ever a time.
I went into it to you anyway when we were talking about if we think any of them are going to die this expansion. I said no, none of them are going to die.
Yeah.
None of the scions.
Yeah. Just the way the plot developed, I don't think it really called for it. Like,
no, it didn't. No.
However,
that's actually what Yoshi P said at the start. He was just like, don't expect anyone to die. And people took that as like,
of course he's going to say that, isn't he?
Or blah, blah, blah. It's like, no. If it doesn't call for it, it doesn't call for it.
No, it was a very good and mature answer that he gave. He was like, it's more about like the Scions struggle and their journey as a team and blah, blah, blah. Like, don't be focused on like the drama of like shock deaths and stuff and blah blah blah. Like, that's a really good way to put it, because then someone can still die and he's like covered that base, you know. Or no one can die and he's covered that base. So it was a really good way to answer it. I think if someone was going to die, it would have happened in Shadowbringers.
Anyway,
that was the expansion.
Back to Raha, his scene when all of the manifestations started. He went back to Crystal Exarch Raha.
Yeah, I love how he just took a second.
He slammed his staff down and everything. He was just like, oh my god, I mean business. Listen to me now, people.
Yep. It's actually funny because I think I mentioned in a comment on that video or something, I was like, man, it's actually like it totally or maybe I mentioned in the video that it reminded me of Soma. How like it's almost like he has multiple consciousnesses uploaded into his head, you know, and he can actually switch and like activate one of them. Because it like took him a second, you know, almost like he was activating his second personality. Yeah. His new old personality, you know. But that was badass as fuck.
The growth of Raha is unbelievable, though. Like, not necessarily as a character, because he's always been the same character, but with me, I sometimes now can't even look back at Shadowbringers when we're playing through it, because we didn't trust him. And I feel so bad. Like, so
I was like, I don't fucking trust this guy, dude. Like,
no, we didn't trust him, did we?
Well, it felt so obvious to us that it was Raha. We were like, okay.
Yeah, well, we knew it was Raha, and he wasn't telling us why, and It
was much more obvious to us because we played through all the expansions in like 7 months up until that point.
Exactly,
so.
We not long before done the Crystal Tower. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I absolutely love Raha. Like, he might be right at the top. It's hard. It really is hard. But how much he's grown on me, because he's like the best. He's like a best friend. He's like a brother. Sometimes, like, if he wants to go Crystal Exarch mode, like, he's like a father. He's like everything that you could need. You know, he's there to prop you up. He's there for the shoulder to cry on. Absolutely everything. Yeah. And he's super, super powerful to boot.
Yeah, man.
And very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable. Issue is, he's not that tall.
Need to do his teleportation magics to reach the books. my god.
Well, his teleportation magic's worked. He saved all those people from the tower.
Oh yeah, true, man. Yeah, he's fucking badass as always. But
Yeah. He turned round, he's just passed out on the floor, like ether depleted, like.
he needs some goddamn.
Right.
Needs some bread, man.
Some Mark on love. Yeah.
Yeah. Before we move on past Matsia, that guy, man. Honestly,
What, the voice
definition.
actor,
No, just goddamn character overall.
character. Yeah.
The goddamn definition of bravery. Well,
Yeah.
actually, there's a couple of definitions of bravery. One of them is being the only person you know that you're afraid.
Yeah.
Right? Or the only person that knows that you're afraid. Which I really fucking like. That's so cool, man. Like, it's such a true definition as well. Like, putting on a brave face to give everybody else confidence, even though you're terrified, you know?
Yeah.
And the other is being terrified and doing something anyway. You know?
Yeah.
And that's what Matsi was all about, man. I fucking love that guy, dude. Oh my god.
Yeah.
When he's running away with the baby, man.
Yeah.
What a
That
absolute
scene is
legend.
actually, it was traumatic. It really was. I keep, when I watch it back now, my heart just races.
Yeah.
Even though I know what's going to happen.
He was an amazing character, man. He was really, really good.
Side character again. Nidana, side character.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
It was so good.
Maybe we should touch on Erenville now then, actually. Erenville was cool. I haven't really got much more to say about him. I think Erenville more puts a smile on my face because of the quest that happened that included Erenville. Where we all turned into toads. Yeah. Alpha toad and Alitoad. That was fucking actually amazing. That was so good, man.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And so that moment where we're all just staring at Erenville.
Yep.
All just
And he's
like 3 toads in a row, you know.
Yeah.
He gets all suspicious, you know, and he recognises instantly that we had any old regular frog. Like, oh.
Yep.
I mean, he had the smallest part to play, really, out of all of the side characters.
One of the coolest looking models in the whole entire game.
Oh, yeah, man.
I hope he carries on into the next section, though. Be nice to see him again, definitely. I feel like he could offer a lot more. Montashane, excellent character as well.
Yep,
he was
goddamn
basically just
Dumbledore.
like a cool Dumbledore, wasn't he?
There's some Dumbledore action going.
Yeah. And even though
Dumbledore.
obviously they were under the enchantment that prevented them from saying anything, he just outright said, "Yeah, we're under an enchantment. I'm not allowed to. I can't say anything, even if I wanted to."
Yeah, but I'm sure you
taught
can.
us and put us on a correct path.
That's so Dumbledorean, man. I swear to
Exactly.
God, you know,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
he's not saying that you should break the rules, but if you wanted to, here's how you might do it, you know. Like,
Yeah. But yeah, then is actually, I'm pretty sure, then after that, that's when we go to Garlemald. We did forget about one thing.
Oh, go on.
The radio.
The radio, as in like how it blocked the
Yep.
ethereal pulse, whatever. Well, I can't quite remember now what happened in Garlemald exactly.
Yeah. But that radio, when we first heard that radio, we got such creepy vibes from it, and it was just sat there on a table, you know, playing like I don't
the
know,
anthem, wasn't it? It was like Garlamald.
Garlamald anthem or something. Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah. But
It felt so much like This War of Mine. That
Yes,
that area,
it did.
man.
It
That
did.
game.
Yeah.
If you haven't played the game called This War of Mine,
Oh,
play This War of Mine. I don't give
Play
a
it.
shit. Oh
yeah.
man, it's like the best.
So cheap.
It's the
so
best
cheap.
like £5 I've ever spent ever on a
it might
video
even
game.
be free now. I don't even know, but yeah, it's
You don't need the
excellent.
DLCs or nothing. Just get the fucking base game, man, and play that shit.
Yeah. What did we call ourselves? The Ilsabad contingent. That was it, wasn't it?
Right. Yeah.
Because we didn't have much help from the big, like the world leaders, did we? They all we didn't have Hien and Ugiri. We had Cyrena, Sardu, and Magnai, and like the Azim Steppe clan, and obviously we had Lys instead of Rauban.
Yeah.
Arun Senna, of course, he was kind of cool as well. I still wish he'd put some pants on and not some shorts in the freezing cold.
You know what I'm saying? But I only wish, man. I only wish upon wish, and I was going to leave this till the end, but fuck it, man, we should cover it now because I think it's relevant to the Ilsabad contingent. Goddamn Fordola and goddamn Gaius should have been in the goddamn Ilsabad contingent, man. I know they were constrained by time and budget and like God producing this and trying to get the voice actors in and organised during like COVID season and shit. When that was still going crazy, it's like
don't forget we didn't do all of the class quests. So $4 could have been part of that.
Possibly.
But I
Maybe
do agree with you that I have no idea why Gaius wasn't in.
Like voice acted or not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Voice acted or otherwise, man. I just wish he'd been there. I want to know what happens to his daughter as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I really thought that they would have, like, at least Gaius would have made an appearance. Yeah.
Man. I'm still waiting, man, for more $4 as well, man. I'm getting little drips of $4, but it's never enough, man.
I'm not a massive fan of $4, to be honest.
But the thing is, like, I am, because I just feel like the potential of the character is so goddamn raw and, like, so fucking real and so ready to go, man. It's just, I just feel like it's not being. They haven't found a spot in the story yet where they could really throw her in and get her arc jump started, you know?
Yeah.
Which is fine, like, if the narrative doesn't demand the character. I'm not saying, like, shoehorn her in just for the sake of it, but definitely Gaius and the Elspeth contingent, man. I feel like that really should have happened, you know? Imagine, like, Gaius and Quintus thrown down, you know? In, like, the ultimate battle of vengeance. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, like, one guy who's, like, renounced the old ways and one guy who's willing to die for them. Like,
actually. I know Sid helped with the Ragnarok, but even Sid not got, like, none of the actual like
Nero.
Yeah, well, none of the former. Actually, Lucia did go quite obviously.
Yeah.
But I think she was the only former. Oh no, and Maxima.
There would have been a few more. Yeah, Maxima was there.
Yeah. Never mind.
Man, just, the whole zone of Garlemald, man, was fucking on point though. It's goddamn Elpis. First of all, journeying through the first to get there and getting the Chatterini and shit.
The moon in the Loporits.
Oh,
holy crap.
The fucking moon, man. How the hell did we forget about the moon?
Yeah.
And Zodiark. The moon was crazy, meeting up with Argos, which I really like how Argos just recognised us.
Yeah, Argos knew us because. Was it because we'd already been there?
We'd already been back. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. It's one like the rules of
do any sort of like scenario to win his trust. Yeah.
Which is one of the rules of time travel stories, is that the past has already happened and it can't be changed. But we'll get to that in just a little bit as well, because that's really cool too. But
arriving on the moon was cool. Obviously, we'd found out that from that one poor ancient who'd been there all alone, protecting the seals of Zodiark.
I'm not sure that was an actual ancient. I'm thinking that was actually more just a creation of Heidelin to watch over the seal.
Well, it probably was in some aspects.
Almost definitely was. Like, I don't think it was a real person.
It wasn't in like human, like ancient form. It was just like in the ghostly figures, you know, that we saw in Amarot, in Shadowbringers, you know. But we did even see Hythlodaeus there as well, in like a form, like some sort of astral form, ether form, whatever you want to call it, as well. Man. But yeah, that was nice. But then obviously, we were just chucked into it. Holy crap! We got to the moon, tried to prevent anything, and then just Fandaniel strolls up like, I'm gonna be the new Heart. See ya! Throws himself in, and we have to fight Zodiark. Like what? 2 hours into the expansion?
Yeah, we're like level 83, man. That was man. It fucking came out of nowhere, man. That fight as well was incredible, man. The Zodiark fight. Oh my god, dude.
Yeah,
that was so cool.
I think that might have been my most favorite fight of the expansion.
It's always best when you die a couple.
Mechanics.
When you die a couple of times, you know, as you learn. Yeah. Like that's the best kind of fight, man.
But when I knew we were fighting Zodiark, I actually got a bit of a pit in my stomach, thinking, "Oh, this is a short expansion. They didn't have time through COVID to develop much of it." You know,
it made me more
it was just
excited
because there was so much to do.
Yeah, it made me more excited, man. Because I was like, holy shit! Like I thought this was going to be the level, like max level shit, you know, final trial, whatever. Or maybe like final dungeon, and then there'd be a final trial for like a twist or something, like level 83 or whatever it was. And then I gotta say, when it happened as well, I was actually so entranced by Fandaniel's, or what we thought would be Fandaniel's final monologue. Turned out to not quite be his final monologue. You know, his final like eulogy to himself and into life and stuff. But what else I really like about that as well, as Fandaniel is claiming Zodiac.
3 people in there, wasn't there? There was like the Fandaniel side, there was the Amon side, and then the Hermes side as well. You know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, you understand why he's gone a bit fucking insane, but
yeah.
But see, it's almost too easy to write his character off as that. I got a lot to say about goddamn Fandaniel and all of his previous incarnations, but we'll leave it over just a little bit for now. Just focus on the Zodiac bit. Because it's like, as he was claiming Zodiac, all of the poor ancients that have been there for millennia upon millennia waiting to come back and keeping the faith, you know, empowering this primal, you know, and seeing him just snuff them all out as he claims it, and they're all just fucking begging. And then what they say at the end, the last voice line is the star must survive, and then he snuffs out the last voice, and it kind of makes you think, because it's like, you sort of think, like, you're blown away by the epicness of the fight and stuff, but in the back of your mind you are kind of thinking, okay, something's not right here. Like, if we kill Zodiac, what does that do, you know? Because as far as we understand, he's holding everything together, and we have no choice but to defend ourselves against him, but at the same time...
Well, I mean, because the only reason Zodiac was summoned in the first place was to stop the final days.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Zodiac was the plug.
That's what I'm saying,
once
man.
we killed it, the plug came out, and lo and behold, once we defeat Zodiac, the final days starts.
Yeah, we get that vision of the wells like cracking and turning red, and then we hear say
finally.
Someone say
thought,
finally.
Heidelin? Why does she sound so evil?
Who the hell was that? Was that Heidelin? Have we done a bad thing here? Like, what the fuck's going on?
We knew it was Endsinger. Yeah, we knew it was Meteon.
And now you know it's Meteon. Been waiting all this time, man. Oh my god.
So she finally...
His Fandaniel's final speech, though. His final goddamn speech. Like, I wasn't sure what to think of it at the time. I was just fucking following it word for word for word for word, you know? And I was like, man, I feel like I could write a goddamn essay on that final speech alone, you know? So it was one of those things that I had to make some fucking notes for. But the TLDR is, it totally reminded me of... I'm not going to mention any names, because we aren't about goddamn credit and killers and mass shooters and stuff like that. But his final goddamn speech, Fandaniel's final speech as he was dying, totally reminded me of like the writings and like the diary scrollings of certain infamous mass shooters in history, you know, people who are utterly alienated from society for whatever kind of reason, and deem themselves worthy of judging humanity and finding them wanting and just wanting to fucking wipe them out because they think that they're no more than goddamn vermin, you know? And if they can't be happy, nobody can be happy. And it's like the fucking things that he says, you know? It's the kind of shit that like raises the goddamn hair in your arms. Inherit my hell. I've had 10 millennia to justify my answer to the question, which we later found out what the question was, which is effectively, what is the meaning of life?
Meaning of life?
You know, effectively that's kind of what the question was. I've 10 millennia to justify my answer. No value in their existence, not a whit. In cataclysm, prove me wrong. You know?
Yeah.
And it's like so grim. Like, it was so fucking grim, man. It was like hair raising shit, you know? Alright, so the journey to Elpis.
Yeah, and actually how we got here because of Elidibus. We totally forgot he was trapped in the Crystal Tower. I mean, I did. Did you?
I totally forgot.
Yeah.
Hey man, you know, you've been looking at me while you talk, you.
Sorry. Hi.
There we go.
Like, literally when we realised that we were going to Elpis, I got so excited.
Oh man.
And I didn't want to get my hopes up that we would actually see Emmett and Hythlodaeus and Fana and
just
things
Emmett
like
would
that.
have done, to be honest. Like,
You are?
just Emmett even would have done.
Yeah,
God.
it would have, yeah. But that nice little last talk with Elidibus, obviously he's still pissed at us and we're still pissed at him, but we're still doing what we need to do to save the star, you know, things like that. But yeah, the opening scene where, like, it did the typical Final Fantasy trope of, like, just showing the body in the bottom of the face, you know, with the question marks.
Mm-hmm.
I got it was Emmett immediately, literally from the voice.
Just the voice? Yeah, man.
The voice instantly. But I don't know why the reveal of what they truly looked like was incredible because it's been so long where they've been under this almost like a facade, you know, into finally and truly, like it is like a 2-in-1. We're going back to uncover what they truly were, you know, and so therefore like finding what they truly look like as well, because we've only seen Emmett as soulless, you know, and we'd never seen what actually we did get a slight glimpse before what Hythlodaeus looked like as well. If you remember, he appeared to us, I can't remember when it was, but we did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Was it around the Zodiark encounter?
I'm not sure. I think it was actually in Melamentorum on the moon, I think. I'm not sure, but we did, because I remember seeing the pink hair. But no, the scene was so good. Like, we showing up dead small, like a child and things. Nobody can see us, but then all of a sudden, they can see us. You know? Yeah.
Apparently it's much better as well if you're a Lalafell. Like, they make you a bit bigger, you know? Like, but he's still so small. Yeah.
Oh, no way!
It's like, yes, but his proportions are much better now. Some shit like that, yeah.
That's
some
cool.
kind of special,
I didn't know that.
Some kind of special interaction happens, yeah.
Yeah. But also, to touch on the point of the characters, them two characters, absolutely spot on. I'm so happy that they still stuck with Emmett being Emmett and didn't change it because of the hype around Emmett's character.
Mm-hmm.
Emmett was still an asshole, but he was a loyal, truthful asshole, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I know what you mean.
But then balanced by Hythlodaeus, it was just the perfect pairing.
I really like how Emmett was the only one who really scathingly disregarded our story, you know, when we told Benan and Hythlo and all of the guys.
Well,
you know?
You've got to understand why.
And he was the villain in the story, like, in a sense.
It's not the fact that, probably, he was the villain, but the fact of how sad and traumatized, he probably wouldn't be willing to accept how bad it got and it was going to get, you know?
Yeah.
And he thought that recreating Amarot would be like a disservice to the memory of all of his friends and colleagues, you know? But you don't know what grief does to you. You literally don't, and that's why he couldn't believe it.
After all those damn millennia, man.
I know, yeah, of trying to keep, the whole civilization alive, in a sense, you know? Yeah, but Emmett's character, Jesus Christ.
Well, I just love how everything came to a head, you know? Like jumping ahead just a little bit, like past Hermes and all that stuff and whatever, man. We'll just bounce around now. It's fucking Elpis, whatever. It meant so much shit happened.
Yeah.
But then that final showdown, you know, where it's us and Venat who are escaping on Argos, and we're leaving Emmett and Hythlodaeus and Hermes behind, you know, that we know in full well they're going to be mind wiped, you know.
Yeah.
And he says, what exactly does he say, man?
Don't forget the legacy I leave you.
Oh, do not squander it, the legacy I leave you. Do not squander
it.
Yeah. Which is like a direct opposite of Emmett and Shadowbringers, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like now that he knows who we are, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like in that moment anyway, he knows who we are. It's like his tune completely changed, you know? He realizes that this is the only way. It's like, man, you get the little smack as we leave them. And that's why it was so horrible, actually, to leave the ancients behind. Because I feel like
it was so painful because we started to bond with them as well.
Well, not just that. I feel like they did a really good job of keeping things vague as to whether or not we could actually help them somehow and maybe create like a parallel universe or something where the ancients lived. Because I was like, oh my god, if we could do that. Like,
Vanna actually said something about changing history or something like that, didn't she?
Yeah, because when Elizabeth sent us off, he was saying, he said something about like, don't change anything. Like you need this reality to stay as it is. For you to come back here or to return here.
Did he say don't, or did he say you can't?
He said you mustn't, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what he said, but he implied that we shouldn't try to change anything, I think.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, when we were like sharing our story with Hythlodaeus and Vanna and Emmett, and like telling them what was
she
what.
Got excited, didn't she?
Well, Hythlodaeus said, perhaps you wish to pave the way for other futures.
Well,
is
that's
what he
our
said
future.
to Vanessa.
Because
but it was all vague at the time, though. Like at the time, you could have read it in the way.
We can't change theirs, but we can change ours.
Yeah, and it seemed like we did have the option at times to say something to someone and to do something,
Yeah, but it was always going to get undone anyway with Kairos.
With the memory wipe, exactly, But what I mean is it kept up like the suspense of the whole zone, because if you go back in time, it's like the same as if you're watching like a prequel to a movie, You're watching the prequel, well, that character's not going to die because he's in the next movie. I already know that shit because I've already watched it, you're in a real risk of having no suspense in that way if you're going back in time,
Yeah.
Or it's like any kind of flashback like that. But the way that we left them in the end, like Vanat saying, oh, like you have to go fight your battle in your own world in the future, and we're going to do everything we can here, and I'm going to see like she's the only one who remembers, so it's all on her shoulders to try to deal with this and to deal with the coming calamity, and like us knowing you're all going to fail and the tragedies that are going to befall
but she knows
civilization. Yeah, but she didn't seem to, though. She didn't seem to. Like, she seemed to still think that maybe she could do something.
Maybe that goes in turn with her actually saying maybe you can change. Like, when she hinted that maybe you can change history or whatever. Maybe she did believe it was possible.
That's something, yeah. She was just waiting for us to come about in her in like the future timeline
and
for her.
She tried until the very end, until, the only option was the Sundering.
Like, her defining characteristic was absolute hopefulness at all times. Yep. She would never ever accept that hope had been lost, which was like, man, complete opposite of Hermes, like before the end. And what I like about it as well, it felt like a worldly hopefulness. It wasn't just like a juvenile, like, oh, if we just believe, then we can do anything, yar,
Yeah.
It didn't feel like a childish hopefulness, It didn't feel like a naive hope.
Yeah.
She might have been. I think she's the quickest I've ever grown to love a character so quickly, like in the game,
Yep.
Because the actual time we spent with her really wasn't a lot, but it was like, man, her character just had such a gravity.
Time with any of the ancients.
No, really, no.
The impact. I mean, I know we've been through Emmett a lot, but Hythlodaeus, Hermes, Meteon, and Invernah. Honestly, it was one of those scenarios. It was like the Wizard of Oz. Like, Dorothy loved being in Oz with the Tin Man and everybody like that, but at the end of the day, you have to go back home. You've got people back home who need you,
Yeah, true. Oh,
but
man.
Absolutely fantastic character, Vanna. I honestly don't have any faults, literally, with her at all. Same as Hythlodaeus. I quite liked how he was a bit of comic relief, between the three of them.
This is the eternal troll.
Yeah.
Like a literally undying troll for his entire life.
And also props to the art team, or the design team who designed the look of the characters. Absolutely stunning.
Yeah. As for Hermes in Elpis, I'm not sure what I thought.
So tragic. I felt so sorry for him.
I feel like I'd need to watch all of his cutscenes again to fully come to grips. Like with Van Daniel's final speech, and the death of Zodiark and stuff, final speech is the death of Zodiark. Like, even that one, I had to watch that speech through and listen to it 4 or 5 times before I really grasped what he was saying and understood where he was coming from and really put myself in the shoes and stuff.
I felt straight away that it was literally just the definition of what happens to someone when they feel like they're alone in the world. Because Hermes did, and that's why he created Meteon, who wasn't really real. Well, she was, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was a tormented soul who nobody could understand and no one could give him any answers.
Yeah.
Yet he would still fight on every day and try to make a difference where he could, which is why when the animals were taken away from him, it had a really bad impact. And when we almost had to take Meteon away, that was it. He tried to protect Meteon, and he was obviously desperate to find the answers from the rest of the Meteor.
Yeah. Of course.
But honestly, Hermes is so tragic.
I know, man.
It's the whole thing with the Dynamis and how Meteon is as well. How she struggles to say things in words, but can talk one-on-one in the mind. You know.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was getting at: mental issues, mental struggles, mental health, and how lost some people feel when they do feel alone, or they feel like they are the only people who feel like this, you know.
Questioning purpose, and if you have all the time in the world. Like, I remember this, man, I used to fucking think about this when I was like a younger, angsty teenager and shit. And it's like, if ultimately everything does end in the heat death of the universe, which is actually what the ear described, by the way, towards the end of the game. The heat death of the universe was effectively what they described. Just in a slightly more fantastical sense. If everything does end in that, and there's just a barren, godless, dark, lifeless universe left over, and that's inevitable, you know, which as far as we can tell right now, based on most scientific models, I think, most commonly accepted scientific models, that is probably what's going to happen. Then truly, what is the point of anything? And it's like, it's a huge flaw in like the rationalist way of thinking, you know. Like, if you just base all of your theories on how the world is and theories on what the meaning of life might be on complete rationalist theories, you can easily fall into that trap, you know, especially if you're like very lonesome and your life is full of angst and suffering and you're isolated and blah blah blah. So, well, that's another thing with Ammon as well. It's like, you look at who Hermes used to be, and he's like experimenting on these creatures and he's creating things and blah blah blah. He's like an ancient zoologist in a way, you know, and creator of life and stuff like that. And then you learn who he became as Ammon after he'd come back, and it's not clear when exactly Emmet came to him when he was Ammon and told him who he was and made him Fandaniel again, you know. I know that's vaguely what happened, but that's vaguely what happened. But even as Ammon, we got the echo through his eyes at that one point, and he was like committing the most atrocious human experiments and stuff on people. Like, he was like a complete perversion of who Hermes used to be. And so you got to, like, he was like attaching animal limbs to people for people's entertainment, for the entertainment of the rich and stuff like that in Azislav, I think it was. Maybe it was other places, but sort of seen him like get like all twisted up into this like deformed version of who Hermes was, you know. You got to wonder, was he doing that because he hated humanity at that point and he'd remembered who he was as Fandaniel? Well,
even as Hermes,
or was it just like echoing through and possessing him in a way, you know? Like,
even as Hermes, he started to dislike humanity because well, not we, but like the ancients at that point, at the click of a finger, could just take life away. That was just created this morning. Like, what makes us worthy to do that, you know?
Right.
It was a deep-seated issue, you know? It really was. He felt too much for... I don't know. The ancients were in their own bubble, and Hermes burst that bubble, but no one else was there to support him and talk with him about it. And he was lost in a world that nobody understood him. So he could have gone down any path, and it was just unfortunate that he went down the path of destruction.
And obviously that manifested in modern day Fandaniel, which, to be honest, man, there's not too much more to talk about with Fandaniel, so I think we should finish up his story and talk about this final cutscene, you know, as we go down into like the ethereal sea and we catch up with his very soul for that final showdown, you know, when we actually see Twat face as well. Oh, fucking Asahi, man. Oh my god, dude. Like, they had to do that, man. They had to do so. Oh, man. Did they really? Well, I think it made it even more tragic, because in the end you act like, I don't want to say that you pitied Hermes, but you understood him by the end. And this is like his final defeat, you know. Like, even in the afterlife, he's not safe from us. But anyway, he's going down, and you start to get the hint that he's having second thoughts towards the end, you know. Oh my god, dude, he's having second thoughts, and it's like how preventable was this if someone had reached out? And I'm not saying like Hermes could have been saved. I think he came to his decision through like very rational means, but his final goddamn words, what does he say? if life is so sacred, why fill it with such misery? Death is the only solution. And he's like shouting at that point, you know, and it's like your character just kind of closes their eyes and looks down like, you know, because it's obvious at that point he's actually not trying to convince you, he's trying to convince himself that he hasn't fucked up. And then what does he say towards the end? And yet, even as the words pass my lips, I'm filled with doubt. Has my search reached its end? Was this the only way? After all these years, is this the answer I was hoping for? Yeah, then Asahi comes to get him, and it's like, so ends the tale of Hermes, the man who knew so much but understood so little. And it's like, oh god. This fucking dialogue, man. Like, the goddamn writer lady, is it Ishikawa? Ishikawa. What a goddamn genius. Like, she is, man. Like, the dialogue, dude. What the fuck's next, man? We done Elpis.
No, well, we haven't done Elpis. We haven't even talked about the scene.
The scene?
Live, die, and know. Well, it was literally just as we left, wasn't it? It was literally as we were leaving Elpis.
Right. Remind me.
As we were leaving Elpis, and then Vinay's like saying our goodbyes and telling us like to stay the path. She'll stay hers and do whatever. And then we get the flashback. Well, no, not the. It's a flashback for us, but from the Elpis standpoint, it's the flash forward to the final days in Amarot, and you see everybody being destroyed. You see Hythlodaeus going to his death.
Which you kind of missed at the time as well, if I remember right.
I did miss at the time because what I was just looking at them two chatting.
Just Emma's face, man.
Emmett's face afterwards. I just thought it was just because of the whole scenario, you know.
Yeah, but Hythlodaeus was kind of smiling to try and make it easier for Emmett, you know.
Just like in typical Hythlodaeus fashion, yeah.
Oh my god, man.
Yeah. And Vinay's just walking through the streets as they're burning and people being destroyed. It just like she's got like her messy face and her cloaks are dirty and ripped. And the summoning that honestly I can't even the whole scene.
Yeah, as she's walking through like the cosmos, you know, it almost looks like she's walking through the darkness. Mirroring
our journey, like some of our journey as well. And I'm thinking as well, do you know, when she goes through and she starts taking these really bad hits.
Yeah, she gets like covered in gore and.
I think they might be simulating like the rejoinings.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, that's what I think it was too. Because it wasn't like gradual; it was like sudden. Yeah. Like almost like spatters of blood, you know, like.
But she was carrying on constantly, just as, and then it mirrored us carrying on, and you know, things like that.
Yeah.
But the dialogue and the music and oh my Jesus Christ, I can't.
Just all of it. Yeah. Oh my god, man.
That was the best. I wanted to say it for it, but that's the best scene like I've ever seen in a video game.
Oh man. I think that top 5 would probably all be from Final Fantasy XIV, to be honest.
Because not only was it impactful, but it was so meaningful and everything, you know. And the lead up to it, all these years, and everything. Finding out that like Vinay was playing at 5D chess, you know.
Yeah, man.
And sundering us because we needed to interact with Dynamis, and Dynamis wasn't a thing for the ancients. It could only be a thing when you had
etherically dense. Yep. They were too dense, weren't
they? The whole live, die and know, I'll never ever forget that scene whatsoever.
It was insanity.
Yeah. And crazy, that's when literally the expansion went to 10,000 for me.
It became obvious that we were witnessing history at that point, you know.
Yeah, but it was literally just like you said. It was like a university lecture that people pay thousands for.
Did I say that?
Story. Yeah, you said it was like a university lecture. Yeah.
I think I said it was like a Jordan Peterson lecture. People were poking in the comments. Some people weren't, because, you know.
Yeah, he's very polarising, but he does, like, there's some. I mean, I love his talk on the Lion King, you know? Like, he picks apart, like, the Lion King.
His analysis of like narrative and stuff and meaning.
Narrative. That's what we're getting at. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not about his political affiliations.
And like nihilism versus meaning and stuff. It's literally like Man, I'd love to see his analysis of like fucking Hermes versus Vana, you know? Because it's like those are the two ideals, you know? Like one is completely one side and one is completely the other, you know?
Yeah.
Much like Zodiark and Heidelin. Oh, I think you just disappeared
see
stuff.
Yeah.
We're gonna leave that in. Alright. But I mean, we go back to Shalyan anyway, roughly speaking.
Exactly.
We
Yeah.
cover all of the Zenos stuff at the end. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah. Then obviously,
including the
after
body steal.
Elpis, we go back to Shalyan, don't we?
Right.
And the Loporrits are there. On my bullet point list of remembering like the expansion, I've just got Loporrits Day Out.
The Loporrits Day Out, man. Oh yeah. You see that whole part, man. I don't know about that part, man. I feel like that was kind of not as bad, not anywhere close to as bad. The trolley section of Endwalker, man. The Loporrits in and around Shalyan.
Oh right, I see what you. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it was kind of like it was sort of there to artificially slow things down.
It was better because we like the Loporrits.
Oh yeah, the trolley section in fucking Jerick. They can get fucked, man. Screw those guys, man.
It was definitely better. Because that was a slow down section. Obviously, we needed it after the live, die, and no cutscene because it's not too long after that as well. After we sorting the Loporrits, we get the scene with Moonbreeder's parents and Urianger.
Yes, that
Isn't
scene,
it?
Man. See, that's why we have to talk about
Absolutely
Urianger, man.
gorgeous scene.
Oh my
and
god!
Please, all I want to say, Square, please put more hugging in your game. How much impact that had. What was it that we played recently? It was actually a really impactful. Oh, the Ivalis raids. It's when what's she called? The young girl. But when she runs to her brother, and it's a proper impactful
like a physical hug. Yeah.
Like, why didn't Rini ever do that to Thancred? You know?
Rini never got was a pat on the head,
just bawled my eyes out, you know. But more of that. But yeah, the whole Urianger and Blumvida and Wilson, was he called?
I forget the name of the father,
I think.
but
oh,
you logging back in, by the way?
Another beautiful scene.
More by myself here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
But no, man, Urianger, Moonbreeder's parents, that was like the most fucking. I was crying.
Yeah, I was
man, that scene
in tears.
It was just too much.
It was beautiful because at first I thought it was going to be a really awkward situation.
Like, oh, they're going to destroy him.
And then she just grabs him.
You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Oh god.
And to add to it as well, Urianger has gone from being like at the bottom of my listing characters to right at the top, all the way through Shadowbringers
Could be like
and
top
even
3
Endwalker.
Easily. Yeah. Like Urianger is.
I can't believe how much they've done, how well they've done with him. That's what I'm saying. That's why that scene was really good, because even back then, like when we were introduced to Moonbreeder and A Realm Reborn, he was really hard-faced, but she was taking it on the chin because she truly knows Urianger. She knows that like he cares for her and things like that.
Yeah.
But it was tragic that she did die before he ever had, you know, the chance to really appreciate her, I guess. You know, or show that he appreciated her.
Well, it's like he said, you know, all these lofty quotes and poems from greater men.
Yep.
Like, oh god, I can't even recite it, dude. Like
And
the old pale
how
in the face of actual tragedy, you know.
Yeah. And how awesome her parents were as well.
Yeah, man.
Like treating Urianger like a son.
Like to see Urianger so vulnerable, you know.
Exactly.
Like
Vulnerable, yeah. That's true. Because he was always very, like I said, stone-faced, and now he's just the total opposite. Like he's developed so much. Do you know what I absolutely love as well? Like Urianger he's always felt bad for doing the difficult things, you know, that need to be done. Like he was helping the Asians at one point, and he was helping keep the secret for Raha, you know, things like that.
Yeah.
And this time, when he was pulled in to keep the secret for the Loporrits, he said, "Right, absolutely not, but I can help in a different way." You know, and that's how it came
man,
to
like
be.
character continuity, you know, like I love that shit, man. He's not willing to do that shit again.
Then after that, obviously, we got the whole like, Dad, can we use the ship, please? You know, can we use the ship? Can we help fix the ship? Sorry. And obviously, Alfie shows off his political skills and gets everything like overnight, and everyone shows up.
Yeah, and that's when you know Fortuno's like, oh man, he's having okay, we're doing Fortuno now. I don't give a shit.
This is exactly where we should do Fortuno.
I've been waiting for our Fortune, man. Goddamn Fortuno, right? It's like, so we get to that part where Alfie, like you said, is using all of his diplomatic skills and his people skills and whatever to like bring everybody together, and we need this component to like make the ship super powerful so we can make the trips that we need. Don't worry about it, man. We got the shit covered. And Alfie just calls up all of our allies, you know, and we get it all sorted. And then we go to the docks, and Fortuno sees with his own eyes, like, holy shit! Look at what my son. Look at what my son has done. Yeah, man. And it's like, it's finally it's like a big callback to who Fortuno used to be when he was still hyper Sharlayan. He was hyper isolationist. You know, way back at the very end of Shadowbringers, when he effectively disowns the kids, you know, when he disowns Alice and Alfie, and says that they're fools for meddling in the affairs of other people, and now is not the time to be worrying yourself with helping other people, and blah blah blah, and getting involved.
Now we know that they truly thought that their way was the only way. Yeah. So any other effort was futile, you know. And
now he sees the power of it, and you get the real sense of how proud he actually is.
Yeah.
Both of his kids. Yeah, seeing like the influence and the connections they've made from all the people who've helped over the years, and then he finally embraces them both, you know.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I can't take a bit. And that's like half an hour after the Urianja scene, so it's like you're already emotionally distraught. And then seeing Fortuno finally, you know, just get behind his kids and say how proud he is and blah blah blah. It's like, because he almost gives a sigh that's like defeated but is relieved at the same time, you know. Really, really good voice acting. Yeah. It's like like he's letting go of a weight off his shoulders, and he can finally just say, okay, we're doing it your way, you know. Like, I will say though, some criticism of Fortuno. I do feel it was a little bit odd that he would choose to effectively disown them at the end of Shadowbringers, like to introduce his character. It was incredible for the story, incredible for the suspense, and like giving you the feels and stuff. It was like a huge shock, you know, like to be introduced to their father that way. Yeah. But the reason he was so obsessive about trying to keep everything a secret and keep Sharlayan all hush hush and what they were doing with the ship and the Ark and all of that. Yeah. And the reason he got so obsessed with it was because he had the two kids. He needed to
save his kids,
Right, so what function did disowning them have? Why wouldn't he invite them back to Sharlayan? Why didn't he invite them back to Sharlayan, and then while they were asleep, literally have them jailed, so they had no choice but to go with them on the Ark?
Yeah, well, he was going to take them regardless. You do know that, right? He wouldn't leave them.
Right, maybe, but he had no track of where they were through most of Endwalker.
Yeah, well, they also didn't know that the final days were that close. Nobody knew exactly how close it was. They just knew it was coming.
Maybe, but it just felt a little bit odd, you know, that he was so at odds with them. Like, whereas it feels like a guy as smart as
risky,
him,
you mean?
It would have been much more expedient for him to just feign an alliance with them, say, "Come to Sharlayan, we have knowledge that's going to help you," and then just have them like incarcerated there, you know.
Yeah, and force them on the ship if they were never going to go.
Exactly, because that's what a father would do, I think, for his kids. Like, you can hate me all you want, but you're not going to die, you know? Yeah. Like, I'm not going to let you die, I'm not going to let you do this.
No, I did like Fortuno's character. It wasn't anything overly spectacular, but it was a much-needed character. Yeah, definitely. Man. And then after that, we now know that Meteon is the one that's causing all this shit. We also know that the universe is doomed to die. Why would the moon be used to jump to a star that's going to die? So we go and, you know, we ask viewers, like, right, can we go and see Heidelin, please? Please, Mom, what do we do?
Mom, help! And Heidelin's entire cutscene after that as well, man. Like, Heidelin actually dying and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, that was insane, man.
Well, we didn't expect that, but then again, when it actually happened, we were just like, "Oh yeah."
It just made sense.
I mean, she's got. For as sad as it is, she now no longer has any use.
Yeah, she's done a bit, you know.
One, we'd bested her, and two, her bit is done. Yeah.
Yeah. I just love how you have the option to either call her Heidelin or call her Vana. And if you call her Heidelin, apparently she doesn't cry. But if you call her Vana, she remembers, you know, like who she used to be way back in the beginning, and Oh man, like I'm so glad that we called it now, man.
Oh yeah,
So glad
definitely.
we called it now, dude.
Yeah, the cutscene, her children one and all, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's basically where we learn that that's what we need to do. We need to hunt down Meteon. She gives us the star chart to find Meteon, and she also buffs our Resem crystal, doesn't she?
Yeah, she gives us a buff.
Yeah.
Oh my god, man.
But
Which
that's where
immediately
she
made me
basically
think like,
uncovers-
we're totally gonna summon him and hide it in, like it's gonna fucking happen, man. Like, but it was still so epic when it did happen.
That's where we uncover that, like, the whole. I think that's where it's pretty much set in stone that the whole Dynamis thing and the reason she sundered us was for like Dynamis interaction, because that's what Meteon and everything is built on, you know.
Yeah.
So we need to be able to interact with it and stuff like that. Sad, but it was bittersweet, that one.
Yeah. So we go to fucking the ship.
Yeah.
We get all
the
seen off.
primals and
Primals
oh my
launch the
God.
ship,
Yeah.
and we're on the
so
goddamn
good.
way to Ultima Thule, to the edge of creation.
Yeah.
Then Meteon fucking springs aboard, man.
Yeah.
So why do you think that Thancred was the only one who was able to stay on his feet while Meteon was exerting influence?
I think he has more control over Dynamis because he's battled so much despair and sadness in his life.
And he can't use magic anymore, right? At all.
Exactly, he can't use magic, but you've got to remember what she was doing. She tried to overload us with Dynamis. That's why we couldn't breathe.
Well, pain
you know?
and misery and...
Yeah, exactly. It was
all
like
of that
just
shit.
a massive pulse.
You think
But
Thancred's
because-
skin is just so thick?
Yeah.
He's like
well,
a
not,
damn...
not
He's like
thick,
a...
but he's been through the war. He's been through the wars, hasn't he? He was able to battle
He's able
it
to
through.
weather it more.
Yeah, a little bit more than us. Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's why I think
So I don't know what I think. I don't really know what I think of Ultima
Ultima
Thule.
Thule is where my mostly pro thoughts go down a little bit, actually. I thought the idea of it is perfect. We should see these worlds that Meteon, well, that have been destroyed, but effectively Meteon destroyed them, you know?
Yeah.
And I really did like the fact that the dynamis of our allies that pushed us forward, because it's always kind of been like that. It's your allies and your friends and your family who help you push forward in hard times, you know.
And that's the answer
now-
to Hermes' question. It's one of them. Family, you know.
Exactly. Yeah. The answer was always there, Hermes, you know, and this is us proving that, you know. I don't know, when each of the Scions go, I'm not sure. I'm really not sure. It felt a little messy to me, the whole Ultima Thule section.
I think the fact that I didn't feel too much of anything speaks that there was something off about it, but I can't quite put my finger on what it was.
Yeah.
I don't think it felt like rushed. I think I was expecting when we were getting told, oh, Ultima Thule, it's going to be a place where, you know, you're all tested in a different way and blah blah blah, you know. Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's really cool that we got to see all of the dying worlds, you know. I thought it was going to be more like every Scion would have to battle against their own personal demons, you know.
Yeah.
So like an echo of their past or something would come back and try to haunt them and drag them down into despair, you know. Various people who they've lost, like Moonbreeder for Rianji, you know, or some shit, you know. But and then they'd all have to individually overcome those. I think that might have been more moving and more like memory lane-ish, you know, which would have been interesting. But
It was good. Like, when we're saying we've got cons for things like this, it doesn't mean we didn't like it. I loved it.
I mean, when the standard is this fucking high, it's like, man.
This was literally the only part of the expansion we felt a bit lost. You know, we did feel lost.
Well, no, it made enough sense for me to understand it narratively. I didn't really understand, not knowing like the mechanics of what was happening.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because when we get into something, we like to know exactly what is going on. On the surface, Ultima Thule was, we've been presented with, you know, a made-up world of past destroyed worlds that Meteon's visited, and we need to get past them, you know, to reach the nest. and to get past them, each scion has to pass a test and give up their either ether or dynamis to make the path the next way.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it is on the surface. We got that, but I like to know the nitty gritty kind of stuff, and I want to know.
Some people have explained it in the comments and stuff.
Out,
like,
you know, like what was, because I remember Estinian made the dragons angry. Like, did the dragon kill Estinian?
Well, it's more that he gave them back their will to live. Is more what it was, I think. Yeah. And I think that's what it was for all of them. You know, like it's like,
I didn't understand
looking
the air
at things, looking at things this way. And having this kind of meaning in your life would have actually fixed your problem, you know, and potentially saved your star and your race, you know. I think is what like the tests were. But.
Yeah. So it was like almost like breaking the endless misery cycle.
The stupor, yeah. But I will say, for all of Ultima Thule's shortcomings, which aren't that many, but you know, the way that zone ended was the biggest fucking might have been the most epic moment of the expansion. Yeah. Probably top 3 though. When
we summoned them too, of course, they were the only one who had creation magics, and they were able to know that Meteon would break from the flower. And the flower, the Elpis flower.
Yeah, the Elpis flowers.
That she would give her a lovely flower.
Yep, and that's what actually snaps hair out of it.
Yeah,
like our Meteon.
When she falls to her knees, man. Oh, yeah. It's our Meteon coming back. Yep.
And can I just say, I don't give a shit if I'm jumping forward a little bit. The way that she's trying to like talk the end singer out of it, you know.
Yeah, is the bed.
Yeah, because she's like seen the light. She's come back to the light, you know. And I love that she's actually somewhere right now, like in Eorzea, you know.
Yeah.
Like just that little tiny bit at the end, man. I was like, she did come back with us, right? She did come back with us. Like
she was flying. She was flying around Revenant's Toll.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Because that's when they were asking us what we were doing, we actually looked up to the sky and Meteon was there.
There you go.
So yes, please, Square. Please, more Meteon.
Meteon was amazing, man.
Meteon. Yeah.
Thinking that she loves toffee apples even though she can't eat them.
Yeah, she can't eat them. It's just because Hermes loved them. Yeah. Maybe she might be our little Entelechy. Oh my god.
Oh, she's amazing, man.
So, I mean, we fell in love with her
man.
the instant we saw her.
It's like you said about Emmett at the end as well, though. You actually already kind of mentioned this, but just touching it again, how we referred to it as save our star.
Our star. Yep.
It's like, yes, man, fucking Emmett's on the team, you know, he's on the team, man. He's like our goddamn manager. But,
but he
and
still
then
wouldn't stick around.
Yeah. Well, it's not my legacy. It's bloody your world now, you know.
Yeah.
But as they're eventually disappearing, you know, and Fandaniel's like, oh, you know, like we'll meet again one day, you know, blah blah blah, in the ethereal sea, this and that. We'll be waiting for you.
Hythildace, I mean.
Oh, Hythildace. You
said Fandaniel.
I said Fandaniel, Jesus. But yeah, Hythildace, you know, all happy that eventually we will get to see each other again, you know.
In the ethereal sea.
When that day comes and Emmett's pretended to be all snotty and snacky about it. Oh, speak for yourself, blah blah blah. Like,
I want nothing to do with it.
Yeah, I want nothing to do with this peasant. That as he's fading away, he has that little smirk, you know.
Smirk on his
like,
face.
yeah, you're excited, Emmett. You're gonna bake us a cake and everything, man. Don't fucking lie, dude. Just moving swiftly on, but like the last dungeon before the Endstinger trial, I felt like there was so much happening that I couldn't really take the time that I wanted. Like I'd want to go back and do it with like a trust system, you know. But there was so many things to read and so many things Meteon was describing of how each world ended as we like tour around all these other worlds, and then it gets to the end where you get to like this paradise world in that dungeon.
Yeah, and it looked like Meteon.
And it almost makes you think, like, did Meteon just start to despair so much that when she went to a new star, well, she inadvertently brought on the end time there. It became like a self-fulfilling prophecy, you know. Yeah. And like they ended up worshipping her as this like deity of nihilism, you know. And she's like sacrificing them all to give them sweet oblivion, you know, and all of this. And oh man, at least that's my theory of how it happened, you know. But the trial itself, I mean, we fast approaching the end now.
The trial was incredible.
It was fucking amazing.
I loved what was going on during it as well, with the Scions actually praying to the 12.
Well, I mean, let's go back to the beginning of the trial yet.
Oh yeah.
With
When we're
everybody
actually-
getting
yeah.
blasted away and stuff,
Yeah.
and we take
Everyone
the goddamn teleporter, you know.
Yeah.
And we fucking boofed them out, and I was like, man, I fucking knew that shit was gonna happen. Or I thought
I
that.
totally forgot.
I actually thought that, oh my god, either Alice or Alfie is gonna end up sacrificing themselves, and we're gonna try to stop them, and they're gonna send us back, is what I thought was gonna happen. And I was like, I'm gonna die in real life if that happens, man. I won't be able to take that, you know. But yeah, it was actually us who used it in the end to get all the Scions out of Dodge and face the end singer alone. Well, at least we thought alone.
Well, at least we thought alone, but we'll get to that in a second.
I mean, we need to cover Zenos now then, man.
Yep.
We need to cover Zenos.
Zenos showing up then, I did not see for a million miles.
But before we get to that, we need to go back to fucking Garlemald when he took our body. We didn't even touch on that. But I mean,
the body swap quest. It was so uncomfortable, wasn't it?
That was actually like anxiety provoking, man.
Yeah.
Because it was like as the timer ticks down.
Excellently done. It really was.
Oh god, I wonder if there's like a special cutscene if the timer runs out, man. You don't get back in time.
Oh no, I don't even dare think.
We'd hear about that by now, surely, wouldn't we? That'd be everywhere on YouTube, man. Like just seeing all the Scions get butchered or something by fake you.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude. I don't even want to think about that. But someone also made a really good point as well, is when you're in the body of that Garlean soldier, and you're like trying to battle your way back, you know, you're trying to get back to your body and to the Scions to warn them. They're saying how deliberate it was, not just for like the suspense, because it's like you're like come on, and she's like trying to kill these fucking guardsmen to get back, you know, but you're so weak as well that it kind of makes you realize that, like, wow, man, when I'm just like DDTing and fucking stone cold stunnering and pedigreeing all these goddamn poor Garlean soldiers, this is how weak and fragile they actually are, you know.
Yep.
Like they really have never stood a chance against us.
True.
So I don't know, man, that's such a good little bit of like environmental storytelling that you can read into, I know. But yeah, man, Zenos arriving back at the Scions, like we get there in just the nick of time and all, but I thought it was over for one of the Scions there, man. I thought Raha was gone. I thought that was it for Raha, man, because it's like he'd had his big hero moment at Radzatan, like narratively. Oh, he saved us all with his big teleportation magic at the Tower of Zot. It's like he'd already made a lot of big plays, and he was the first one, of course, that was going to run over to us because we're like his best friend. So he sees us coming, but it's not us. He doesn't know that, so he comes running over, and it's like, oh Jesus, man, I really thought that was it, and that would have been like the greatest gut punch in gaming fucking history, you know. And I must say, I do feel a little bit low-key disappointed that more impact didn't come of that, and that people got out scot-free. No one was even like hospitalized as a result of Zenos's prank, you know. Like it almost felt like a flex in the end. If he really wanted to provoke us into saying fuck everything else, I want to kill this guy, like wouldn't killing Raha, you know, and saying I'm going to do you know, Alice is next if you don't fucking throw down with me, you know.
He probably did. He probably was going to until we stopped him. So yeah, it probably was the initial response, but because we were there.
But he kind of gave the game up, like he arrived and did the little Zenos smack, but with our face, you know.
It's Zenos, of course he's going to.
Oh, well, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like I just feel like it was a little bit out of character for him, you know. Like it felt a little bit plot armory, is what I'll say, man. We've already kind of touched on Zenos getting shouted at by Alice, so we don't really need to go into that again. It was very interesting to see, you know. Actually have his logic challenged, which was fucking interesting, because I think that was well overdue. Like, his logic is just garbage. And did he show up again, really, until the very end?
Well, we saw him walking up into Charlian, didn't we? We had no idea who it was.
Yeah, Creedy looking all surprised.
Yeah, well, everybody was.
Yeah. I love how we are fucking about to battle the end singer, you know, and then fucking he breaks through. I'm like, for a second, what the fuck, Shinryu? Like, what the fuck is it? And you have the big realization, oh my god, it's fucking Zenos, you know. And I just love how it's got the dragon's voice, but you can hear from a mile away that it's Zenos in there, you know. Like, but why does it still live? Surely it has no match for you. It's like he has absolute faith in us. All the Scions are like panicking and shit, like, don't you dare do this alone, you know. Zenos like, well, hurry up then, get it killed. Like, just fucking doesn't give a damn.
It was so good. I loved that so much.
It was amazing, man.
Like, I'm not a massive Zenos fan, but that made me a Zenos fan.
Yeah.
I loved it. The end singer fight was incredible. I actually loved it, and the whole section at the end where we're getting the prayers. And if you actually watch it back now,
the callback.
Do you know when you hear their prayers when it comes over, a text comes up in the middle saying like Alfino's prayer gives you, basically like boosts you up. Tancred's prayer, Gestola's prayer. Yeah, it's stuff like that.
Man. Oh, it was the most anime thing ever, man. But it was so fucking good.
And then obviously you already touched on this really early in the video, but about the LB Dynamis interaction. Yeah,
because we were like doomed. Yeah. And then Dynamis totally saves our ass.
And thank you, Square, for implementing a countdown. The poor tanks in the Elidibus fight. We died. We've been in once and we died, I think, about 4 times because the
4 or 5 times. Yeah.
Poor tank couldn't time it correctly, could he?
And both of them were trying, like, okay, I tried this time.
They were trying so hard.
2 sprouts who never done the fight before, man. Yeah. Oh my god.
We stuck around, but they felt so bad.
Only one person left, you know. Everybody else was pretty hyped about it. Like, come on, this is the time, boys. This is the time. We got this shit. See, I'm really digging deep to try to get at the bottom of Zenos's like psychology and how he thinks and blah blah blah, you know, because I'm going to do a video on it eventually. But
it's like to lightly touch upon it. It's what, like, I read something on Twitter before, and if you think Zenos is usually people try to uncover what makes people the way they are. Sometimes they're just born like that, you know. Sometimes they are just born like that, and
it does happen.
It does, yeah. And the thing is with Zenos, when you look at it from the perspective that I wish I'd screenshot the quote from the person who said it, but they described it as like Zenos has been miserable his whole life, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just going on to the next thing and the next thing without really a care. He didn't have really much emotion, nothing, until he fought us in Stormblood, and he felt an immense joy. He was accepting of death at that point, but only he wanted to feel that joy once more, and that joy was fighting us.
Do you know what reminds me of? Reminds me of when you play in a Grand Theft Auto game, and like you do when you're a kid, you play it with all the fucking cheats on, right? So you got like the entire planet police force after you, and you've got like infinite health, the fastest cars, flying cars, and you're just doing backflips and shit, dodging tank shots and shooting out of your window at Harriers and shit like that, like as the Air Force comes after you, blah, blah, and you just can't, and it's fun. It's really fun for like an hour or so. And then you're just sort of done, you know. Or maybe it's fun for like a few months even, you know, because you're a kid, it's like a cool man flying car, you know. But eventually it gets fucking tiresome. But imagine you could never turn the cheat codes off and that's the only game you could play for the rest of your life.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And it's not just a game, it's life. It's just the way things are. Everything comes to you so easily. What, like... And he's a prince as well, so it's not even like material wealth is an issue. He doesn't have to go on conquest to acquire things like the finest wines in the land, the greatest weapons, the finest clothes, like everything you could ever, like he's beat life at the point where he meets you. So I think you're totally right, man. Yeah. It's like he doesn't know what it's like to actually struggle or strive.
Nothing ever gave him joy, except when he fought us.
Right.
So who, in the end, when we do fight, who were we to deny him a fight?
Right.
What he wanted, it's the only thing. Like, he even said, you can say no, and you can walk, I won't stop you.
But now that he's reciprocated, we owe him one, you know? Now that he helped us beat Endsinger, you know? Helped us save the world, so whatever, man. Let's do it.
Yeah.
But, oh, man, I do feel like his fight was it felt a little bit bolted on at the end.
You think? I quite liked the fight.
Oh yeah, I think it was fantastic. The encounter itself was amazing. The cutscene was like hilarious. Like the fact beating the shit out of each other. That was so good. That was amazing.
And please, Square, put it in the Unending Journey, please.
Oh, is it not in there?
No, it's not in there.
Oh, come on now, man, Square, dude. What's going on with them, man? But yeah, I don't know, man. Zenos is a really fucking interesting character. He's going to be love-hate for a lot of people, though. A lot of people, including myself.
I never really minded him, but I actually liked him after this expansion. And actually, we don't even know if actually, he's not dead. He can't be dead.
He's dead.
How? He's an Ascian?
What is Zenos, actually?
Yeah, but we just left him there as well. We didn't kill him with any parasite.
Maybe. I don't know, man. Maybe it'll show up, man. I have come to gorge myself on your ether once more.
Yeah.
I think we've actually covered fucking everything. Start to finish. Oh, wait a minute. The credits where your fucking character shows up on the end of the credits, man. Elixir Catalyst is the warrior of light.
Yeah, this Embers. Yeah, I loved it.
Oh my god, dude. I tell you, one more thing we do have to do real quick. We did a poll a couple of weeks ago asking everybody on the channel what their favourite expansion was. To vote and to drop a comment with what they thought and why, and you know what their favourite moment was from their favourite expansion, whatever. Who do you think won, Soph?
Endwalker probably won.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We can have the results on screen right now in the video, man, so might as well have them up. Poor Stormblood, only 2%, man.
I love Stormblood, and I think I might be one of the few that preferred Stormblood over...
Don't say over Heaven's Ward, man.
Heaven's Ward.
Oh my god.
I think I did.
See, I think a lot of Endwalker being the favourite will be recency effect.
Yeah.
It's probably between Shadowbringers and Endwalker, I think, objectively, from like a writing standpoint.
Of course.
I've thoroughly enjoyed every expansion, though. Absolutely, man.
Thoroughly. None of them have been bad. A Realm Reborn, when you look back, was bad. But when you're playing it, awesome.
When you're playing it, you don't really care, you know, because you're just learning about the game and you're learning what the fuck levy quests are, and like you don't have a clue what the hell you're doing, so there's that.
But the thing is, they left the expansion on a high point with all the Scions escaping and stuff. So
I really like this top comment here, man. I think this one pretty much summarizes what I was thinking about it, so it's kind of funny how it's the top voted comment as well, from J Tan. He said, I personally love both Shadowbringers and Endwalker for two different reasons. Shadowbringers for its tight pacing and amazing story, and Endwalker for bringing all of the threads together and having them pay off in a huge way. Objectively, if you ask me which story I preferred, it's probably Shadowbringers, but Endwalker is so satisfying, especially when you've been playing the game for a long time and see all of the cameos. Oh my god, yeah, because we missed a lot of those from content we didn't do, you know.
Very, very well put. Yeah.
Like the way I put it as well, is that I feel like Shadowbringers had more big feels moments. It had more like grounded like, character moments that just made you fucking break down and cry.
Yep.
Whereas Endwalker felt more like an epic, you know. It felt like the end of an epic saga, you know.
Agreed. Yeah.
So like it's fucking amazing for different reasons, but
like I said to you, the end singer fight at the end of Endwalker, absolutely outstanding, and the fact that our Scions were praying for us and it was actually helping, you know. Oh man, so good. And the scene where we wake up as well, and you can hear the Scions begging us to wake up in the background.
Oh my god!
How honestly that like they did so well with that. It wasn't over the top. It was realistic.
Yeah.
You know, like Y'shtola shouting at us for fighting alone. Alice in tears, Alfie in tears, Raha in tears.
There's also a question as well, by the way, about once we beat Zenos. And we're both kind of like
the teleporter.
Yeah, who threw the teleporter down?
Uriansha actually doesn't know, I don't think. If you speak to Uriansha,
in Meteon didn't mention doing it, right?
Yeah, because she said we were right behind her.
Yeah, exactly. So people are theorizing that it was actually possibly Zenos, and he somehow planned to give it to us if we satisfied his lust for a fight, you know. Yeah, so it was actually Zenos who fucking saved us in the end from the pits of wherever the hell we fell to, you know. Whatever plane of reality that was, but which is a really cool touch as well. Another comment as well from Blackmane Fury, and this one pretty much sums it up too, but certain individual moments in Shadowbringers are the best in the game, being handed the axe, for example, from Adbed.
This is what I'm getting, literally what I was just about to say to you. The ending of fight, when the signs are all doing that, it feels godly, and then us waking up and things like that, it's so heartfelt.
Yeah.
But I will never forget
for real heartfelt
when we are actually fighting against Emmett,
right? And
we are struggling, we're on the floor, and we stand up and we turn around, and all of the Scions are channeling their ether.
Yeah. You know? All of them in a row, all beaming it up.
But it even starts as well with Thancred coming out of nowhere and like peppering him with with like. but the shot of the Scions all put narrator into everything, even
that's
little
what
Rain.
I mean. Just individual moments, man, and then Emmett's farewell as he's passing on, you know. And what you got to think as well is when Emmett dies at the end there, instantly, within 5 seconds of him dissipating, he's got his memories back, and he knows that we are actually on the right side of history. You know, and that we are actually fighting the only fight that can result in victory in the end, you know. So, like, imagine that, and then he's been watching us for the rest of the way through Shadowbringers. Oh, man. And does that explain, that extra explains as well why he helped us against Elidibus, you know?
Elidibus. Yeah.
That extra explains that, because you could explain it already, but it adds extra context to that too, which is why Endwalker is so good.
Yeah, we just assumed that he was kind of putting Elidibus out of his misery, you know, because he was a tormented soul too. But no, it was that. But people then would have just said, well, why didn't Emmett intervene a lot earlier, you know? But Emmett still needs to believe that we are the right choice, you know? He can't just randomly snap his fingers and kill his kin, you know? Yeah,
like, holy shit, okay, he's putting up an incredible fight. Like, he's the one, you know, he is the one. Yeah. Oh my goodness, dude. But again, that's another reason why. I'll just finish off this comment, by the way. I was halfway through. Certain elements of Shadowbringers are the best in the game, being handed the extra example, but for an expansion as a whole, Endwalker wins out by having so many amazing moments and being written in a way which makes earlier expansions better retroactively, which is exactly what we were just talking about, you know. So I think that's an amazing fucking place to wrap it up.
Yeah, because if we go back and watch stuff now, like and link it to, like, oh my god, that's what that means. That's what that means.
It adds more context. It does.
Yeah,
which is amazing, man. It's so good. Oh my god, man, it's so fucking good, dude. Holy shit, man. 10 out of 10 best game ever. Holy shit.
So good.
Yeah, Firefog agrees. Oh, Firefog says, Firefrog rather, long time viewer, what's up, man? Shadowbringers is still my favourite expansion, tighter storytelling and pacing. Endwalker had a lot of padding in between story beats, and I was casing some of the quests in busy work just to get to the next plot point. See, we felt a bit of that with the Loporits, but...
oh no, but I loved the Loporits, I didn't care.
Yeah, I think it's a fair point, though. Man, by the time they were in Shaliando, I was kind of done, man. I was like, okay, man, we gotta fucking, like, it's time to step on it now, you know?
I'm not done with the Loporits at all. I need more Loporits in my life.
Yeah. The Silent Harp says he loved Endwalker. Elpis scene's definitely his personal highlight. Yep. Goddamn right, dude. Yeah. Let's cover a couple more channel members, man, because they jump out because of the little badge, you know.
Yeah.
Jezza, such a close call, but Endwalker's pacing woes give Shadowbringer just the advantage for me. They're both emotionally satisfying. Who would have thought that I'd be tearing up for Meryl Weaver of all people? But the physical ranged role quest did that to me. See, we haven't done those yet. No, the physical ranged role quest, man, features goddamn Meryl Weaver. Holy shit, dude.
Well, yeah, I think he and Nugiri are in the other ones as well. Like, so
Which fucking guy is featuring one of them now, and we've just been ripping on it for not including Gaius.
I don't think Gaius does, but I think Fodola does.
Shit, it can't choose between Shadowbringers and Endwalker. My kind of
I can't choose, I don't think. Honestly, I don't think I can choose.
Oh, it's really fucking hard. It's really hard, man. You know,
do you have a favourite character of the expansion?
Of this expansion? Of just Endwalker?
Yeah. Just Endwalker.
Vana.
Probably Vana, yeah, for you.
Probably Vana.
I can't choose.
It's really hard. It's really hard. It's really hard.
Yep, it's so difficult.
It's that even the side characters like Julius and fucking Matsia, like even those were just little mini parcel-sized masterpieces on their own, you know.
Yeah, I mean, when you were talking about side characters, Serena was even in it. You know, she's an amazing character, and we found out that Serena and Sadu were a thing. No, I can't believe we missed that.
I fucking missed that shit. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
oh my god.
Or like Sadu really likes Serena.
It's definitely suggested, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Which is cool, man. I love that shit.
Somebody mentioned it that it's some side text, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like subtly done.
Yeah. Now that is someone like bringing out the best in somebody, and like basically bringing out the best in each other, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh my god. Alright, man. I think we've pretty much covered everything there is to cover. This is going to have to go in 2 parts or something, this, man. We can't upload a 2 hour, 40-minute video.
Is that
It's
how long
crazy.
been?
Well, it's been like long as fuck. Been
Yeah.
long as fuck, man.
Yeah.
But hey, there you go. It's all wrapped up.
I don't. No, I'm not picking my favorite. I really don't have one. I honestly liked every single character. I really did. I can't choose. Because if I have to choose, I'll pick one person, and then I'll feel bad for like putting away, you know.
Oh, any characters that you dislike that were like main characters?
Any characters
they
that
thought
I
were done
dislike.
badly. Oh god, see, no man, I think fucking Hermes, Van Daniel / Amon might be my favourite character.
But you always go for the bad guys, though.
Well, I just think that you could write a book about that character's development.
Yeah. Well, you could write a book about Vanna as well.
No man, because Vanna didn't have as much screen time, man.
Yeah, true.
I think she just had the most impact given the amount of screen time she had.
Yeah.
Alright, we've got to fucking wrap it up here, man. It's goddamn 10 AM in the morning, and no, we haven't slept.
No.
Well, I'm just going to stay up and work, I guess, but you can get your ass to bed.
Yep.
Oh, man. Okay, I'm just going to fucking sign it off. Do you want to say bye, Sophie? Before I do a little monologue to end this?
Good night.
Okay, that's all you're getting from Sophie. Alright, and that is that, boys. Just want to say again, there's Sophie waving goodbye. Good night, Sophie. Lekker nost. Yeah. Thanks for following the journey, everybody. I know we've said this a few times in other videos. It's been a long old road, and it's been made way more incredible by just having so many of you guys, so many of y'all following the videos as we go, recording an epic moment, recording a super sad moment, whatever, you know, some theory crafting along the way, and then getting excited about sharing it with you guys and seeing what you guys think. It's just been awesome. It's just been awesome, man. And you know, we've still got some content at the end of this expansion to do. We haven't done the Pandemonium raids or trials or whatever yet. And we have them unlocked and they're ready to go, so we're expecting those somewhat soon. And we've got the rest of the expansion before us yet. You know, some retirement as the Warrior of Light. So I'm quite interested to see what's going to come. From here on out, I'm going to be trying to get me the Necromancer title from Palace of the Dead. It's going to be a nice little solo challenge for us to do. And I dare say I might also be uploading some other games, potentially on a long disused second channel. So we'll see what comes of that as well, man. So, oh, Sophie's just reminding me as well, man, some character review action. We're going to be hitting up all kinds of character reviews. It's going to be basically me preparing a goddamn video essay. Sophie's going to edit the crap out of it. It's going to be amazing. And hopefully we're going to get to really present it as, you know, a deep dive analysis of their character development and their growth and their motivations and all of the story acts that they undergo and stuff. Potentially starting with Zenos, because right now he just feels the most interesting to me, you know? Or the biggest enigma, the biggest puzzle to me, you know. So I think I'd like to tackle him first, maybe Van Daniel first. We'll see where we go with that. But yeah, thanks again, everybody. Thanks again to everybody who's become channel members over the course of this massive marathon of content, you know. I know the end still isn't in sight yet. Feels like this is like a conclusion, though, of a chapter, you know. So just thanks, guys. Thanks to everybody for the comments, the likes, the subs, the memberships. It's been fucking amazing. So cheers, everybody. We shall catch all of you guys as a tab later in future videos, and please have an incredible day.